It's already hard enough living with each other. Just living with family, you know, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, friends, roommates, like whoever, or even by yourself. It's really hard to just kind of get along with one another. And having an animal in the house as an extra personality always helps. They don't speak any language. They just kind of need everything that we give them. They need the food, they need the water, they need the shelter. The animals can't really survive without us, but we just need to have that damn pet in the house. And if not needed, it's always just nice to have that, you know. As George Carlin once said, life is a series of dogs. You know, whenever one dog dies, you just go ahead and get another one. So as dark as that sounds, but there's kind of some truth to that. I haven't had a pet for almost like 14 years now, and you can just tell in the household there's such a need for that extra personality because the pet isn't necessarily its own being. I mean, it is, but it's not like you get back what you put in to the dog. So if you're a piece of shit to the dog is just going to be a piece of shit dog. But if you put in love to that dog's going to be the most loving fucking dog ever. So that's why we need pets. This is Coffee and Catastrophe with Brent and Gabi.
I was like getting emotional as you were talking because I'm thinking about all of my dogs over my life. And that's so true. Like my life is a series of dogs. Like there was a time when I was born when we did not have a dog. But like since then, it's kind of been my mom has had dogs. And now that my parents are like divorced, my dad's like girlfriend, like she has cats, but they're very like doggish cats. So like pets and animals have like always been around me since I was probably about 3. And honestly, since I'm like moving out and, you know, like starting my like life with my own space, I'm trying to think about like maybe getting an animal. Although honestly, like one thing that is like amazing about animals is that, like you said, they need that care and like you have something to care for and like tend to. But the problem is that like when you're like, you know, figuring out your life and like example, I can't just drop everything and go to Europe because I got a dog. Like I need to find a place for my dog to be cared for while I'm gone. So, but at the same time, like pets like bring so much joy to our lives. So much joy. Oh, dude,
I say every single dog as if I had several, but just in my lifetime, we've only had 2. When I was a little kid, we had this one little tiny Yorkshire Terrier named Groundsel.
Oh, yeah. I've heard about Groundsel.
Groundsel had one eye.
Who named Groundsel?
I think my mom named Groundsel, and it was based off of, I think it's a movie like Journey to the Center of the Earth or 2,000 Leagues Under the Sea. I can't remember the title, but There was a duck. Like some guy had a pet duck in the movie named Groundsel.
And so your mom thought that'd be a good name for a Yorkshire Terrier because they're very similar to ducks.
It worked. Like the dog looked like a Groundsel, but
did it come with one eye?
No. Like Groundsel was playing around in the backyard one day and just ran into a fucking tree branch.
Boy or girl?
Girl. So, yeah, just ran into the branch happier than shit, just die. And then there goes Groundsel's eye, and I'm a little kid, and I'm just like, oh, Groundsel has one eye, and, you know, little dogs they live way too, they're like teenagers by the time they croak.
Oh, yeah, like, which we only had, so thus far in my life, we had Shadow, who was a yellow lab, and she lived to be 11 and a half. And then Blackhawk just passed away in August, and he was a Black Lab Bernese Mountain Dog mix. And both of them ranged from like 70 to 80 pounds. And then my mom's dog is Marley, and he's a Schnauzer Poodle mix. And he's going to be 10 this year, if I'm not mistaken. No, 11. He's going to be 11. So I think that like he is showing less amount of wear at his age than either of our big dogs did. By the time that Shadow was Marley's age, she had had surgery to remove fatty tumors. She had I think 1 or 2, like I think she might have started having seizures at this point. And Hawk, of course, like we found out that he made it to be 12 and a half. And he started having health problems once he hit 11 because that's when he tore his ACL, and then we found out that he had liver cancer. But he really didn't have it. He didn't have like he didn't need to have his like fatty tumors removed like Shadow did. But yeah, no. So like Marley is still like going and like bitchy as ever. He's so like, he's really like, he's like sounds really yippy, even though he's not. And he's like, I never had like a dog that like needs to be held. Like he is a lap dog. Like when I'm there and I'm not paying attention to him, he gets on his hind legs and like stands on me with his front paws and stares at me, like stares. And if you don't give him attention, then he like walks away in a huff and gets all like depressed and sad. And then like when you do hold him, he's just like, he's kind of like a butterball turkey. I think he needs to lose like a pound or so, but he's not like excessively big or anything, but he's just like this lump when you hold him. And like he hides all the time. Like he hides under my mom's bed, and like he'll hide in the yard. It's just like he's a weirdo, and like he loves killing small baby bunnies, which is so tragic. But yeah, so we'll see how long he goes for, how long his lifespan takes him. But thus far, he has had none of the health problems our big dogs had. So he'll probably outlive me at this point.
So your description of, all right, staring at you, killing little bunnies, this is pretty much a screenplay of We Need to Talk About Kevin.
I've never seen that.
It's Tilda Swinton's in the movie, and she has a child that's really fucked up. You know, it's like he's not like the devil, but he's definitely evil. Like there's like a scene where he's a baby, and you know they're playing a little game. Like they're both sitting on the floor with their legs splayed, and like they're passing the ball back and forth. And she's just like passing the ball to him, and he's just sitting there looking at her, not doing shit. And then like the older he gets, like the more evil he gets, and then like, you know, he's like killing little animals and shit. And then there's like a scene like just the ultimate independent evil scene, or any like characteristic of an evil person in any independent movie, is they walk into the bathroom and they're feverishly masturbating and look evil doing it.
What?
This guy's just jerking off, and he's just like grunting, looking at her like, and then she just closes the door.
Like the mom walks in and her son feverishly masturbating?
Like evilly masturbating. Like he wasn't even like holding onto the wall or anything. Like there wasn't like a moment where he's just like, he just fucking,
ew, like, that's so gross.
Like he was torturing his dick. I'm like, all right, we get it. This guy's evil. I think.
Well, it's called choking the chicken for a reason, isn't it?
No, like this is literally like there was nothing left of this guy's dick afterwards. That's how evil he was, and that's the animal that you describe. But because it's a dog, it's so sweet and adorable.
He's really cute, and he is really cute, and like it's funny sometimes when he's shaved really like close, he looks more like schnauzery, and then sometimes he gets really like fuzzy, and like he just looks like an old man all the time. And he is an old man now, considering that like when dogs are, he's going to be 11 in December. So at that point, they always say that the first 2 years of a dog's life are like 5 years old. And then every year after that, it counts for 7 years. So math, 9 times 7 is 63 plus 10. He's 73 years old. He's literally an old man.
So the dog could be running for president.
He could. He very well could. If Bernie Sanders had a dog. No, I don't think so. No. I was going to say, I think Marley's the Bernie Sanders of dogs, but I don't think, like, he's too anxious. Like, Bernie Sanders, I think, is like akin to like a bulldog. Like a husky, not like a husky, but like a husky bulldog. Like husky as an adjective, not husky as the breed.
Oh, yeah.
He's a husky bulldog. No. He's like a bulldog who's like seen a lot. He's seen so many things. Still,
I'm just hoping deep down in my heart that they both still just shit outside. Like just Bernie Sanders, he just like, this is an awful good dinner. I like the couscous. I got to go outside now. And then he just squats like by the tree, and then he buries his shit.
Like a cat. Dogs don't bury their shit, really. I mean, they do that little like thing with their... Did your dogs do that with their back paws where they like flip grass on it? Like, what is that? What are you doing?
It's a borderline like...
Is it like they're wiping? Like...
I don't know. Like, maybe there's just like... They do the same thing in wrestling, like when they win. Like they do like... They do a taunt. Well, not like that.
They do it. But is it a taunt? I think it's just them like...
But like, okay, think of how badass this is. Okay, imagine a person doing this. You go outside, you're completely naked, and you have a fucking collar on your neck, and then you just squat down, you just take a massive shit, and then like you fucking dig your feet in the ground and you just claw up the earth behind you, and then you go inside.
I have a funny story about something similar to what you just described.
What's the story?
So I was with my ex and we were out in Virginia Beach, and we went to this like private beach, and there were no bathrooms, and I really, really had to pee, and we were in our bathing suits, and so I like went away, found a place with like no people, semi hidden from people's gaze, sat down, peed in the sand, and then buried it like a cat. Just like covered it up.
Like the cops were gonna come.
Like I was like I didn't want any evidence, so I just peed on the beach, and then I was 100% sober. I just had to super pee, and there was no bathrooms and no place for me to go, so I fucking pissed in the sand and covered and buried it.
Well, some gumshoe detective with like a tan trench coat would have been walking by like, oh, this is interesting, and then he just would have went on the ground, just like dipped like 2 fingers in his mouth, like, I have to see who caused this, and then he would just like come up to you and he'd be like, you know something, what's your name? And he would be like, Gabby's like, Gabby, I couldn't help but notice that there was some really strong odor urine coming from the sand over there. But if you buried it, he would have just been like, there's no piss under that sand whatsoever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I buried, and I've never had a cat, so I don't know why obviously my instinct was to bury it because otherwise people would see it. But yeah, so yeah. I am basically a cat.
A cat or some sort of kink on the internet.
Yeah, either that's, oh man, you know how there's sand cutting, sand pissing.
Yeah, like some guy is like, okay, blonde girl, kind of into punk music, bikini, pissing in the sand, but very innocently. And then that's just like millions.
That's totally a kink. That's that's weirdly, ew. I don't even want to think about that.
Like,
but yeah.
But
yeah. If Bernie Sanders shits outside, we won't know until he's elected president in 2020. So,
no, it's gonna be the lead up to it. So you know how they do like the behind the scenes like videos, like the promos leading up to the election, where they just like Bernie Sanders is an everyman, and then he's like sitting at the like dinner table and he's eating like a nice turkey dinner, and he's like laughing with his grandsons, and they're opening Christmas gifts and it's slow motion, and he's all happy. And then, like, it's like 6 o'clock in the morning, the sprinklers are on, and then, like, Bernie's just out there squatting by a tree, shitting, reading the news headlines.
Yeah,
so he's up to date with the world. And then he just stands up and he just kicks the earth behind him and goes inside and runs for president.
He's an everyman. He's
the Tom Hanks, but, like, as a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but animals...
But animals are great. So you had, I'm going to get the Grenzel? Groundsel.
Yeah.
Again, I'm like, what the fuck is this name? It's so funny. Groundsel. So Groundsel was a Yorkie. How old was Groundsel when you were alive?
Oh, man. Groundsel died when she was 16 years old. And
wow.
when I was about 8 or 9. So this is about 95? Yeah, 95. So my parents bought Groundsel when they moved into our home now, like from the city. So it was my brother's dog. Just a little Yorkie, just a little tiny dog, had her little bed, and she always had these little pink bows in her hair because like it was the type of dog you had to like take to the groomers to get a haircut.
Oh yeah.
So my mom always put this little pink bow in her hair and shit. Aww. It was adorable. And Groundsel had one eye and you know, just couldn't.
Groundsel's like such an aggressive name for like a little Yorkie.
Yeah, like kind of just
the one eye makes it though.
Didn't take any shit.
She could not have one eye.
Yeah, she's like very radical in her beliefs, and you know, she's a fucking trailblazer.
You know, riot girl, girls to the front.
Oh yeah, and you know, what was cool about Groundsel is that like when she would shit, they would just be like a couple milk duds, and that was it. So you know, Groundsel would only eat like 1 cup of food a day, like just like 1 measuring cup of dog food, and just eat it in her little ass teeth, and you know. So I had fun with Groundsel as a kid, but my dog was Scamper, Black Labrador Retriever. Scamper was out of her fucking mind.
Where'd you get Scamper?
We went to Lamb's Farm, which was a pet place. I can't remember where it is. It's off the highway.
Yeah, it's in, I think, like Libertyville.
Yeah, I haven't been there since, but we were looking for a dog, and I remember we were just looking at a couple of dogs, and like they have this area at the time where you can just play with the dogs. So we went into the room, and then Scamper brought the toy up to me, like the little chew toy, and then we were like, "That's it. We're gonna fucking buy you." And then I remember we got her in the car, and I was like 9 years old, and I was like, "This is the happiest day of my life!" Just fucking crying and shit. But right after that, like we went to go toy shopping, and if we didn't buy a Scamper, we would have bought this dog. There was a little tiny pug at a pet store, and it was behind like the glass doors and shit. And the pug saw me, and they just cleaned the floor. And the pug was trying to run to me, but his feet were slipping out from under him. But he was so happy and determined to just come up to me, like, God damn it! Like I still remember that dog to this day. Like, just such happiness. So funny. Yeah, but like, well, in my mind, I'm like, that dog's happy and wants to like find a home. But I probably realized, no, this is a puppy mill. This dog's trying to get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's Did you buy Groundsel as well, or did you get her from like a Lamb's Farm? Like, because Lamb's Farm is like an adoption versus like pet store, right?
I don't know the origin of Groundsel because I know my folks bought her when they lived in the city.
Oh, okay.
But Scamper, I was there when they bought Scamper, and Scamper lived to be about 10 years old. The thing is, we never trained the dog, and the dog had severe anxiety.
Really? I've never heard of a lab with anxiety.
Like, it was weird. It was like a person. Like, the dog would just always usually chill throughout the whole day. My dad would come home, and the dog would immediately go and take one of my dad's hoppies, bite the shit, and just like run away.
And a hoppy is a slipper.
House slipper. That's what I call it, a hoppy.
For people who maybe are just tuning in.
Right. So hoppies are house slippers in my house, and Scamper would take them and eat the shit, and then just run back and forth all the time, and just be like, just running. I would fuck with her though. I would play these games where like my parents would buy like a new TV, and it was like those gigantic square boxes because the older TVs.
Oh yeah.
They're like refrigerator size.
No, for sure. I know what you're talking about. Do you remember the ones that would take up like a fucking wall?
Yeah.
Like and just were like 5 feet high.
And that was the biggest piece of shit TV. But like in the 90s, that was the like big screen TV. That was like screw HD and everything now. Big screen TV. That was where you watch the game and everything. And I would actually hide in the boxes. Like, I would, like, put the empty cardboard box on top of me, and I'd be like, Scamper! And then Scamper would just run into the dining room and be like, what the fuck's going on? And then I would just get, like, burst out of the box, like, and she would, shit! Just run back and forth, just fucking lose her mind. But that's probably why she had anxiety.
Because you kept telling her you were gone away.
Because you imagine, like, if you were a child and, like, you grew up in a household, and you're like, Brad, come here! And then I'm like, where's Daddy? Oh, shit! Like, every day. Like, I would hide in like the.
You're saying you caused your dog's anxiety.
Yeah, well, I would like hide in the shower. I would like pull the curtain. I would do the same shit, and then like she would like slowly like walk her snout there. And I go, oh shit, you got me again. And just completely, it never got old.
Did you name her Scamper? Or did she come with the name Scamper?
She was named Scamper. I think it's because like we were trying to figure out a name for her, and she would just always run around. My dad came up with that name, and it just fit, Scamper. Because like I never understood why people give human names to dogs. Like, yeah, this is Bill.
That's okay. So like, as an English teacher, have you read To Kill a Mockingbird?
No.
Oh, okay. So like, there's a dog named Tim Johnson. Yeah. And like, none of the kids get that Tim Johnson's a dog, and Atticus needs to go shoot him because he has rabies. And all the kids are like, why is Atticus gonna shoot this guy? And you're like, no, Tim Johnson is a dog.
It's like in The Life of Pi, the tiger's named Richard Parker.
Wait. I've never read Life of Pi. That isn't real, is it?
No, the tiger's name is Richard Parker.
No, it's not.
They describe why it was named Richard Parker because I think they fucked up the way because that was the name of like the owner or whatever, and they switched it with the name on like in the zoo because that was the name. Like his name was like Freckles or some bullshit, and then like
Freckles?
I don't know, Freckles the tiger.
Freckles the tiger. They have stripes, not Freckles asshole.
But it was like given to like Richard Parker, and then like they just fucked up the name. So like that, like it makes sense once you realize the name.
I've never read Life of Pi, but we actually might be teaching it to my juniors because we have like a literature circle thing. I've never read it, but I knew when it came out, like it was so popular.
I mean, I'm very biased when I say this, but that was easily one of the best books I've ever read.
Really?
Completely blew me away.
Did you get the Jesus imagery and metaphor when you were reading it? No. I heard it was like it's like meant to be a really religious.
It is very religious
Yeah.
story, but I mean, I'm not going to say anything about the story. It's not overtly Jesus-y where it's like, okay, yeah, he's laying there with his arms out like in a cross shape, and he's like a savior. But like, it's very religious in terms of like about God rather than Jesus, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I just remember people making comparisons to like, do you know the story of the temptation in the desert with Jesus, where basically like, I forget what book it was, and even Milton, like, who wrote Paradise Lost, which was about like Adam and Eve and Lucifer like trying to reclaim his spot and say fuck you to God or whatever, which, by the way, Milton was completely blind by the time he wrote that. He dictated the whole thing to his kids and they wrote it. So fucking cool.
Shit.
But Paradise Regained is like, we lost paradise as humans because fucking Eve, and this is my curse as a woman now. But Paradise Regained is about Jesus in the desert and how he walked in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights, because there's always 40 days and 40 nights, and Satan shows up and tries to tempt him with all these things, and he says like, get behind thee, Satan, and like keeps pursuing, and Satan promises him like power and women and money and like all these things. He's like, no, I can't. So it's kind of like that Life of Pi situation, is this weird like sitting with your devil like really intimately. It's really cool.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what you would say about the book, because it's just the movie. Like when I saw the movie after I read the book, and I didn't know if the movie reminded me of how great a book it was, but the book I think was just like the imagery. Like, I mean, it was a great movie as well, but yeah, that's a goddamn good book, man.
Yeah, I'll need to pick it up, but Pi. Or no, I'm sorry. What's the tiger's name?
Richard Parker.
Richard Parker is Richard Parker is no pet. He is not, well, is the kid's name Pi?
I think so. Pi Patel or some shit.
Pi Patel.
Yeah, like it was like a short and abbreviated, like his name, like. But
they called him Pi.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
But
interesting.
Yeah. So, but like even still, like, hey man, Dave's here. Where the fuck's Dave? Oh, Dave's just like a corgi.
Yeah.
Fucking.
I do want to have a corgi and name it the Professor, and like, I don't know what, and like dress it in Argyle sweaters, or I'll have. Its full name will be like Dr. Professor Corgington the Third, like something crazy dumb.
I think it's in my destiny to where I'm going to have a Instagram account with a famous animal.
Yeah.
Based on that account, like I want to have a little baby pig, a little piglet, and I'm going to name it Pickles. Pickles the pig. Just be really cute, or Petunia, or something with like a P sound.
Petunia, that would be cute.
Yeah, or just Spoinky or some bullshit. I don't know. Or I really like hedgehogs, which kind of breaks my heart because last month one of my favorite Instagram accounts, a Zuki hedgehog, the little hedgehog, died terribly, and it was only 3 years old. But such a happy hedgehog. And then yesterday, the most famous hedgehog died, Mr. Pokey.
I know.
That just broke my heart, man, because these goddamn little hedgehogs, like, you love these animals no matter what it is. Some people are like, well, it's just a hedgehog, it's just a dog. It's like, no, the dog isn't just like a being, like that's just a random soulless thing. The dog is, like I said earlier, it's what you put into it. So when the dog dies, what's really going away is like part of like your love that you gave that animal.
Well, and actually, to extrapolate that point, like, dogs are just unconditionally loving. Like, there is nothing that a dog just like never is not. That was not correct English. A dog is never without joy. A dog is always with joy. It is always happy. It is always loving to you, no matter what. Like, dogs are that. And part of what, like, obviously every dog has like personality. And so like there's personality differences between like the 3 dogs I've had in my life. Like, example, Shadow was like really independent. And when she got older, she was a grouchy old lady and she just like wanted everything her way. And Hawk was just always so mellow, to the point that when we first brought him home, so we adopted, all 3 of my animals have been like adopted in like some weird way. Now, well, Shadow's the weirdest one. Basically, my uncle was drunk in a bar, and this guy had Shadow, and he was moving, and he couldn't sell her, so he said he was going to leave her on the side of the road to get eaten by like a raccoon or something like that. And she was like really small. She wasn't like the runt of the litter, but like she was about she was too young to like really even be weaned from her mother. But my uncle was like, fuck you, you're not, like, give me the dog, like, don't take it away. And I had been asking for a dog. I think I was about 3 years old, 3 or 4, and my parents were really heavily considering getting a dog for Christmas for me, and it was like in the fall. And then so he took her home as a puppy, but he lived with my grandparents, and they had 2 dogs that like weren't going to get along with the puppy. They didn't want to take on a puppy, so on and so forth. So basically my uncle called my parents and were like, hey, would Gabrielle like a puppy? And so that's my full name, Gabrielle. That's why I just said that. I just realized I don't think I've ever said my full name on here.
No, I don't think so.
But some older people in my life will call me Gabrielle. They don't really call me Gabi. But so, and actually when I was that age, fun fact, I didn't go by Gabi until I was 11 because I just loved my name so much. And then when I moved, I was like, you gotta have something easy for kids to call you. So I'll go by Gabi. But so we went over and she was so small. Do you remember like just what a classic like point and shoot camera, how big that was?
Yeah.
Okay. So my grandfather had a camera case to hold his point and shoot camera. Not even one of those big like DSL numbers that like YouTubers use, like not even a big camera, just like a point and shoot. And she was smaller than the camera case. She was that small. And instantly I have this vision of her hiding under the kitchen table and like nibbling at people's toes. And she was just so cute and small, and I'm gonna cry. And she was so cute. And I instantly was like, can we please take her home? And my mom said yes. And then I have this other vision of us driving home, and I'm sitting in the back seat with her. And she was like so little, she starts nipping at me because again, she's like so little and shouldn't be away from her mom. And I'm like, Mom, she's biting me. And I was like so upset and like, oh my God, she was just so sweet and so cute. And so from there, like we were like 2 peas in a pod. Like, I'm not even joking to you. This was before my brother was born. And so when people would ask me if I had a sibling, I said I would have a puppy. I have a puppy sister, and that was my dog. And like, we didn't necessarily like my dad and like my dad, funny enough, like really didn't understand how much dogs can be like members of your family until he had Shadow in his life, because they would play together. They'd go on walks. He would play tug of war with her. He would wrestle with her. And, yeah, and she was was so protective. I think I've shared the story before that when I was like 9, so she was about 6 years old. There was a kid who came over and he was chasing me in our backyard, and she ran up to the boy and bit him on the ass, like just nipped him as a means of like, that's my girl, like, knock it off. And he like ran out of the yard. But so she was really protective, and like, so she had like that like maternal energy. She was always like, and the only other person she ever bit was a neighbor my mom was gardening, and he came into the yard without saying like my mom had her back to him, and he just unlocked the door and walked in to talk to her. And Shadow, not knowing who was, ran up and nipped his hand and was like, who the fuck are you? So she had this like protective energy, like always. Hawk was just chill. When we got him, because my brother was, I think about 9, and he was like, it's time for Matt to get a dog. And so we looked on some websites for like adopting puppies and, like what breeds we wanted. And he was born in Southern Illinois, and he was like, his mom was a black lab that lived on a farm. And then the farm next over had a Bernese Mountain Dog that made its way over one night, and boom, they made babies. And he had 2 siblings, and they were named Olivia, Newton, and John, because of course they were, like the actress from Grease. Mm-hmm. And so he was Newton, and I remember seeing a picture of him, and he didn't look like a dog. He looked like a bear cub, because he looked like a lab if you squinted, but he was so fluffy. He looked like a bear cub. And so I had like something going on that day. And so my parents and Matt went and, saw him, and they just fell in love with him, brought him home, and they picked me up from wherever I was. And here he was in the back seat, and he wasn't as small as Shadow was. So I was like kind of resentful that he wasn't like the super small puppy that I remembered having, but we're sitting him in the back seat, and we're trying to like keep him calm. Hawk just fucking pukes between my feet on the car ride home because he'd probably first time recognizably dog had been in a car. And so he cried the first like night that he was there, but then he was fine. Like until then, he never barked ever and when he did, it was scary, terrifying, low demonic growl. Like horrifying. But he like rarely ever did that. And when Shadow's health started failing and she couldn't run around in the yard, he would be her legs while she barked, or like if she couldn't bark, he would bark. Like it was really cute. So, and then Marley has just been the most anxious, wound up, attention whore, not nippy, but like yippy, loudmouth weirdo. So they all have different personalities. It's amazing.
That's one thing I don't miss is cleaning up dog puke.
Oh my God. And Marley, this is the other thing. Marley fucking pisses in the house like all the time. He was the one that like we did not get trained like basically at all. He like Shadow went to puppy class. Hawk, we took him to like a kennel. Like they basically did like a week-long overnight program to train Hawk. And so they did. So he was leash trained and not as good as Shadow was, but pretty good. And then Marley was never trained and fucking to this day like shits in the house, pisses in the house, like because he's just nervous. And it's like, the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, it's horrible.
Oh man, because I think my dog might have been really questioning her identity.
Oh yeah,
because like okay, like we didn't really train the dog traditionally. Like there's like the cooler method or something that's supposed to be the most effective way to train dogs, where like they just know everything. I think my dog was just trained to go outside, come back in. That's it.
Yeah,
wasn't trained to do anything. It just always eat. It was like having a wild animal in the house. So
both Groundsel and Scamper.
Groundsel was chill, but then again, she had one eye. She didn't want to fuck around.
She'd seen enough of life.
She got her little bones. She's just pissed all the time. So she's just one of those like she's like Stoop Kid on Hey Arnold.
Oh my God, she's Stoop Kid. Is she afraid to leave her stoop?
Yeah, she had like this little bed and just in the corner, and she just never left it. But with Scamper, we took her training. My dad and I in like 1997. Holy shit.
I think that's the year we got Shadow.
Yeah. So we took her to a training class, and she was with like 3 other dogs, Stash, Zeus, and Maggie. So Stash was like this little, I don't know what the fuck Stash was. You know, like one of those dogs that don't really have a face because it's just all hair. So
does it look like a mop?
Yeah, pretty much. Like a brown mop. And then Zeus was this big ass, like 500-pound Rottweiler.
Jesus.
Not an ounce of fat on his body. And then Maggie was like this little, like, Cocker Spaniel, you know, just like a cute floppy-eared dog. And then, like, during the training, like, Scamper and Maggie would just be passionately making out with each other. Like, just like, in the faces, dude. Like,
ew.
Like, fucking, because, like Scamper just got fixed, but she was just like, no, I'm a fucking strong, independent dog woman. And it looked like the scene in Monster where, like, Christina Ricci and Charlize Theron are dancing to fucking Journey, and then like Charlize Theron just grabs her face and they just start passionately kissing. That was Scamper and Maggie. Every goddamn God. Scamper didn't learn shit. And then meanwhile Zeus is like trying to like eat my dog's ass. While they're like kissing, and Scamper didn't pay any attention to Zeus licking her ass. And
so
then
Scamper was polyamorous?
I don't know. Like either that or she was so into Maggie that like the 500-pound dog eating their ass didn't phase her one bit. And little Stash was the cuck, just watching all this go down.
Oh my God.
And Stash, but like Stash wasn't enjoying it. Stash would just be passive aggressive, like, be nice if I had my turn.
Yeah.
Just standing there, and Scamper didn't learn shit, but we had Scamper for 10 years, so from 95 to 2005, and I just graduated high school, and I just finished my first semester in college. Mm-hmm. So she went out. Like, it was so terrible because like 2 weeks earlier, she was completely fine, just running around, happier than shit.
That's how it was with Shadow, yeah.
Yeah, so and then like one day she just stopped eating as much and just had very low energy, and then like lost a shitload of weight. This dog was like 90 pounds, lost like 20 pounds in less than 2 weeks, and then like she had this weird bone cancer in her left arm. So we took her to the hospital, or the vet, not like not like Condell.
Yeah.
You know, like she's in bed next to a guy named Shep who got his leg blown off. So we took her to the vet, and then they operated on the wrong leg.
Oh my God.
So they operated on her right leg instead of her left. So when she came home, she could not stand up on her front legs. So when we took her outside to piss, she would literally like stand for a second, shake, and then like collapse face forward. And then like just piss blood. And then like she just kept getting thinner and thinner. And we just said, this is it. And then we took her to the vet. And I kind of regret this to this day because, you know, I was just crying, holding on to her. And like, you know, when you have a dying anything in your arms, it's the saddest, heaviest fucking thing. Like I could lift a 70-pound box, no problem.
Yeah.
When it's a dying animal.
Well, and they don't know. Like, I mean, they know that something's wrong, but they don't know that they're gonna die that day.
No, like if anything, Scamper's like, no, I'm fine. Just give me Maggie's face. I don't give a shit. And then like as soon as she saw the car, it's like, oh, I see what the fuck this is. All right, whatever. Because car rides are always to the vet. And then we took Scamper to the vet, and then they put her down. But we just kind of dropped her off in the room and left. I wasn't there for Scamper's last moments. And
honestly, it's so hard. I don't think anyone would blame you for not being able to go in.
I was a complete mess. Like my mom had to drive home. I didn't have my actually I did have my driver's license at the time, but I don't think I had insurance or something like that. And then I was an inconsolable mess in the car, and she was just holding it together just because, I mean, she expresses her emotions. It's just that, like, when you're driving, you can't belt it out like I was and still be safe driving home.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of ways, pets are our first understanding of life and death when you lose an animal. And I'm going to sound like such a dick. It's worse sometimes to lose an animal because animals don't do anything wrong. Animals, like you said, like a lot of the time they are what their owners put into them. And so if they're a mean dog, if they're an aggressive dog, it's because their owner hasn't treated them right or taken care of them. So when an animal's gone, they're just a manifestation of pure love and joy and like good feelings. And when they die, it's just like you have this kind of like immature moment of like, it's not fair. It's just not fair. And when Shadow went, so she had like torn her meniscus at one point. She had started having seizures like randomly, like my mom, like we came in one day and she was just like shaking on the floor, like scared, like she was out of the seizure, but obviously something had like happened. And so they did blood work and were able to determine she had a seizure. And they had a couple of those. And then literally like out of nowhere, my mom saw her like squat to the bathroom and she just fell over, and they were like, what's going on? And so took her to the vet, and she'd like slowed down eating as well. And when they took her in, they did blood work and instantly found out that she had kidney cancer and that she was like ready to go. And because what happens is with animals, like obviously they can't tell you I feel sick, but especially like animals, because of their instinct, they will hide and mask any sign until the last possible moment because it's a sign of weakness and they could be, you know, left by their pack or like hurt or I don't know. So they took her to the vet and they kept her overnight for testing, and she was so weak that she couldn't walk. And so they brought her in on like a blanket, like they carried her in. And, my mom was really determined to stay with her when they injected her. And we didn't know this at the time, but they'd already given her some sedative to like ease her into it and make it easy on her. And she was so weak, but she was able to pick up her head and look at all of us. And I was able to pet her and tell her how much I loved her. But then I left the room because I couldn't watch her die, and I was like 14, like I couldn't do it. And actually, you know, we had to put Hawk down a few months ago. I was 25, and I was there for I didn't realize it kind of comes in two steps. They basically give the dog a sedative to really calm them down, and they literally just lie down, and then they give them an injection that stops their heart. And I was able to be in the room for the sedative for Hawk, but I'm crying so much because they're just animals are so beautiful and dogs are so giving and loving. And, you know, to have that taken away from you is just so sudden. And it's like, it's the beauty of animals that they're so loving till the moment they go away. But it's so soul crushing when they're gone, because like, you can't get the type of love you can get from a dog from a person. Like, it just doesn't exist. Like, humans are too imperfect. Whereas animals, like, they'll shit on the carpet, but somehow you still fucking love them. Like, what kind of abusive relationship is this that, like, you shit on my carpet and eat my things or, like, whatever, but I still fucking love you and I'm gonna weep when you're dead. Like,
yeah. And they die in the most tragic way, too. Like, they don't just, like, it's very rare I hear of a dog that just dies in its sleep and it's just, like, lived a long, good life.
Yeah.
And, like, the dog's like, all right, I'm ready to go. It's always, like, cancer. Like, they have the diseases where if it happened to a human, they would actually name the disease after the first human that had it.
No, for real. Like, literally, it was just nuts. And like, the cool thing about like Hawk, like when he got his cancer, like it was crazy that he tore his ACL. And when, you know, I basically told my mom, like, hey, I'll help pay for the surgery. We'll get his ACL repaired. And when they did the blood work, boom, found out he had liver cancer and had just, again, like no signs. And of course it was like really a sharp decline fast. And we had to do the whole, do we go through cancer treatment for the dog? But the problem with that is, in the same way that a human knows what's happening, and it's a very similar process but the dog doesn't know. And the dog is just going to feel like shit. And at least in our dog's case, it would only extend their life a couple months. So we decided as a family, like, no, we're not going to put him on chemo. And he lived a full year and a half after his diagnosis. So, and he had a pretty good existence, for the most part. The saddest thing too, though, was his eyes started going just because he was old. He had such bad cataracts that he could like really not see very well. And so like when you walked him, he would kind of like hug your leg so that he like kind of felt safe, which was like sweet. And the cutest thing he used to do is he would like cuddle up on your feet. Like, that's like, have you heard that like, I think my mom learned that when she was training Shadow at puppy class. Like, Shadow would sit like upright next to my mom, but she would like lean on my mom's leg. And my mom was like, why does she keep doing that? And the trainer was like, that's how like dogs hug. Like, that's how she explained it. And like Hawk would be like, oh my God, I have so many pictures of me like trying to do yoga and him like lying on my mat and just like, nope, can't do yoga. Like, you gotta cuddle me. Or like, oh, you're in corpse pose. Cool. I'm gonna lie next to you. And like, just the sweetest, happiest dog. And again, so chill, never bit anybody, never growled, like, ever. And so like, when something that pure and beautiful and positive exits your life, it's just misery. Absolute fucking misery.
Yeah, I didn't know that about dogs because Scamper, she had her own big luxurious bed and would just fucking starfish on it every night like a fucking drunk man. Like, yeah. So, no, I never experienced the leg hugging thing. That's like endearing.
No, it's really cute, yeah.
So I will say, though, it really breaks my heart when any animal dies, except for one.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Oh, no. Wait. Well, okay, I have a guess. Keep going.
I never told you about this dog. But it's not like a secret. It's just that, like, I never owned this one. This wasn't my dog. This motherfucker. Okay. So, my grandma, Oma, before she moved in with us like 6 years ago, when she lived with my uncle in Rochelle, she lived with my uncle and his wife, and then they had this little dog named Dillon. Dillon, I don't know what Dillon was, but it was a mop dog that is one of those dogs that should have been no heavier than 5 pounds.
Uh-oh.
Dillon was 20 pounds.
Oh, no.
This dog was so fat and fucking miserable. The dog, okay, we come in, and, you know, like, we would go visit Oma. And the dog was so fat, it would just fucking run out of breath after like the 5th bark. It would just be,
No, that's horrible.
And it would just start be like sucking air like a human, just like, okay. And then like every time, like my grandma like had a hard time moving around the house too, and she always complained. She's like, I can't walk, I can't sit. The fucking dog would do the same thing, like So I got two of these fucking people walking around.
Oh my god.
So Dillon's 20 pounds. Okay, like I'm not kidding. This dog was so fucking fat. It broke its own legs walking. This dog was so fat, his fucking fat ass just collapsed underneath his own weight. And they never took him to the hospital to get it healed up or in a cast or anything. So this fucking dog is limping. I
have so much sadness in my heart for this dog. Like, your reaction is like my opposite. I'm like, this poor animal just wants to live life.
No, this dog fucking, it was a little version of Oma, man. And she'd be walking around just, fuck shit. Like they were perfect soulmates for each other. And I'm like, why the fuck is this dog so fat? And then for dinner, like it was me, my dad, my brother, Oma, my uncle, and my uncle's wife. So 6 people. So they got catering. They got like this big ass, there was this awesome chicken place by their house. So they just got like chicken, mashed potatoes, corn, like just the standard stuff that you would get at KFC, but it was at like one of those like more local places.
Yeah, like a mom and pop.
The dog had its own plate and ate fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn. The dog did not eat dog food. The dog ate fucking steaks, mashed potatoes, cookies, chips. This dog.
Oh my god.
And the dog like fucking would get tired eating the chicken. The guy would just sit there, put his little paws on the chicken breast, and just go. And just like, and I'm just like, I want to drown this fucking dog. I really do.
Drown it in gravy, maybe.
No. Oh, here's the thing. Every other dog I have loved. I love any dog. All dogs. Like even like to this day, when I'm in a car, even when I'm out by myself, whenever I see a dog, I actually shout, "It's a dog!" Like, because that's how much I fucking love dogs.
Oh, there's a corgi in my neighborhood. I go full like. I sound like I have problems.
Dylan. On the other hand, I actually thought I would have been a better human being had I just fucking just
put the dog out of its fucking misery.
Yeah, just taking the dog, just drown him in the fucking tub, and just like, oh, thank God, you're fucking dead now.
Your suffering has ended.
Like seriously, like this dog ate like at least 5,000 calories a day, and a little dog like that should eat like one little cup. Of food, if that.
See, I feel really sad when I see like overweight animals because it's like they can't control that. Most of the time they have like owners who are really crappy and don't feed them or exercise them. Like, sorry to diss your Oma, but like, you know, like that's where my like brain goes to, like, fuck them, like this poor animal.
And because of Dillon's diet, Dillon always had explosive diarrhea whenever it shit. And it was always like a fucking like funnel shape every time. So I know this because one, I saw the dog take a shit. It couldn't even stand up. It was just. And there was one of those dogs where you had to cut its fur, so like the whole back of Dillon was fucking just dried up shit on his fur.
Oh, this is disgusting.
And just sitting there eating chicken, sweating. Like I'm like, this dog is just fucking dead. Just I get up, I make a sudden move. It's just fuck. So yeah, I seriously wanted to like just curb stomp this fucking dog's little head. I've never felt that way about any animal.
No, that's true. That's true. You don't feel that way.
But out of the kindness of my heart,
kindness of my heart, I just want to kill this fucking dog.
I wanted to be like, I've never even heard, like, you know, you ever see like some serial killer movies where they're just like, oh, I want to kill so I can free, be a free your soul, miserable. You know, like I felt like that with fucking Dillon. I was just like, please, Dillon, you gotta go to doggy heaven. Well, you will be skinny again because these people are just like the dog ain't more fucking chicken than me.
Well, and that's the thing is like dogs are just primal. Like, they're gonna eat whatever the fuck is put in front of them. Like, and they'll eat until they die. Like, that's like how they work. That's so disturbing though, that it was so fat that it couldn't support its body weight. Was it it wasn't a Chihuahua.
No, it was like I don't know. It
like
was
a poodle mix?
I think so. Like a poodle mix with a spaniel or something. So it had like really short, like triangular pointy ears.
Oh, kind of like a Westie?
Yeah, something like a picture like a bowling ball and a Westie mix. So,
have you ever seen, like, do you know like the Caesar dog food?
Yes, that's
it looked like that dog.
That is the dog.
But like 20 pounds when it should have been
pounds.
10.
No, it should even 10. It would have been like
overweight. It should have been like 5 pounds.
5 pounds. And
oh
then,
my
like,
God.
And Dillon was 2. Fucking 2 years old.
When he died?
No, when I saw this dog.
Oh.
And like my brother talked to my aunt recently. Mm-hmm. The dog is still alive.
Oh my god. Okay, but you said it's like Oma in a dog. So
yeah. Almost 90.
Yeah.
Dillon's fucking 9.
Does she see Dillon anymore?
No.
Did they at least put the dog on a fucking diet?
I don't know.
I hope.
I hope so too, because other than that, I'm gonna be like, hey, Aunt Judy, I mean, I really miss you. I've never had a relationship with you before. I've only seen you a handful of times, but hey, can I come over and I have some coffee and talk? And then like, I'm just gonna see Dillon. Dillon's probably gonna have like all 4 broken limbs just fucking there like, shit. And I just gonna fucking go there and then just kick the dog until kick him until he's dead. I mean, I don't advocate violence against animals, but I think with this one, it's
well,
necessary.
you know, Brent, I think you just did. So,
but okay, in terms of with the PETA people, look, I don't advocate violence in any way against any. It breaks my heart when I see these videos on the internet, like even the fucking Sarah McLachlan commercials of the dogs. Mm-hmm. They're just cold and hungry. That breaks my heart. But with Dillon, the world would be a better fucking place without this dog, because the dog is just like an embodiment of human misery.
Well, okay, so I think just let me play armchair psychologist for a moment. I think you want Oma dead, therefore you want Dillon dead. Are you convinced that maybe Dillon is Oma's familiar, and to kill her, you must kill Dillon?
I think if you killed Oma, Dillon would just explode.
That's what I mean!
But like, they're the same, like I mean, I don't have hatred for Oma. It's just that, okay, she's 90.
Yeah, she's 90.
And she's pretty much Dillon now. Like, it's the same, like even where it's just walking around, just diarrhea, complaining, losing air, like just out of breath constantly. And like, I'm just like almost gonna take over that fucking night at the end of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Like, she's gonna be like handing out the cups for adventurers. Like, you chose poorly, you chose wisely. The fucking dog's gonna be there like, just shit on itself. Fucking roll over once, and like the dog probably broke its own neck too because it's so fat.
So it broke its legs. So like, what happened? Like, how was it able to move?
You ever like know those wind up toys that we have when we were kids, and just like
kind of like they like the ones that like they have to put their like one foot in front of they're like.
No,
like,
if it's a frog and it goes up. So picture like a car bouncing up and down, but it's a little froggy toy, and Dillon. Dillon just broken leg, just fucking. Shit, my friend. Hey, fuck you. Yeah.
I feel more bad for that dog. Like, again, which is like go to doggy heaven where you can be thin.
Dog's eating a fucking pretzel crust Little Caesars pizza right now.
That's
all to himself.
Frankly, I feel bad for the humans that eat that, but. Wait, didn't you tell me you ate that yesterday?
Yeah, I had that yesterday, and I woke up at 4 a.m. and couldn't really fall asleep after that. So I'm becoming the goddamn dog.
Don't let yourself become a Dillon.
Okay, if that happens, if I'm ever like, Gabi, hey, fuck, I seriously want you to just in your way, just kill me. Just like here's the thing, it has
in my way.
Not if I get that out of shape, or like if I get like fucked up in a car accident or something, and then you just off me. I'm talking about if I'm just that and bitching. all the time. Because that's why I hated Dillon. Like, if Dillon was just a fat, sweet dog, like, hey, I love you so much. Like, I would love Dillon, but Dillon just bitching at everything. Just, if there's a truck that's going by, just bitching. We're sitting down, just bitching. Just always bitching. I can't stand that negativity, and I don't want to become that. And I feel like I'm being, like, negative now, but Dillon just brings it out of me. I can't, that little fucking dog. But here's the thing. If I kicked Dillon, I'd break my foot. That's how fat this fucking dog is.
Also, it's bad to kick dogs. Don't do that.
No, like, it'd be like kicking a bowling ball. It really would. I would sprain my ankle trying to kick this dog.
And he'd be like, what?
The dog would be like, what the fuck? Hey, fuck you, dog. He just barf on my foot. And I'm just like, so now I gotta like clean up his barf. I gotta put like my hand in like a grocery store bag and then cup it over the puke and then turn it inside out and do it like that way. And like I'm gagging, trying to clean up the puke. Oh God, I'm just sorry. Every other dog like would scamper, and even when you were telling your story, I was just like, God damn, I feel that so much. I
saw the tears in your eyes when I was talking. It's true though, because just animals are great. In terms of other pets, though, that my friends, like all my friends have like dogs that they like are attached to. But now my friend Kat has a pig. She bought a teacup pig 2 years ago. Let's just say, okay, so when Eclair, that's her name. When Eclair the pig, actually, fun fact, Eclair the pig came from a farm in New Jersey and was on an episode of Saturday Night Live. It might have been an episode with The Rock, actually, which now, like, you want to be with this pig. I know. But, or maybe it was Jason Momoa. I don't even know. It's okay. So she was in this. And so when she was first born, like, she's a teacup pig. They're really small. What they don't tell you is that, well, with teacup pigs, first off, if you really do your research, there's no guarantee what size the pig will be ever. Like, they never can tell you. So when they first get them, some breeders will tell you to only feed them a quarter cup of food a day, which basically you're malnourishing them to keep them small, which is really, really upsetting. But like Kat and her husband Ben, like didn't like, they like listened to their intuition. We're just like, whatever, we're gonna love this pig no matter what. Well, now Eclair is like 50 pounds, but she's not like a teacup size anymore. She's probably about 3 feet long. She makes noises all the time. She's really well trained because pigs are really smart. Pigs are smarter than dogs. So she's really smart, but if she doesn't get her way, she gets really upset. And actually I posted a video of her on my Instagram. She likes sleeping in blankets on the couch. So she's a pig in a blanket. And she just like sits there and like they do this thing to comfort themselves where they just like, it's like chewing cud, but it's not cud because they don't have cud. But she'll just be in her little like blanket fort, like it's just like adorable, but also like she's a pig. She can charge people, and she charged Catherine's dad because he like if you move too fast, she gets skittish, especially because they have hardwood floors in their place and she's got obviously hooves and she like slips around all over the place, but like, and she's got her own little room. Not that they like keep her locked in there. Like she's out and about when they're home. Yeah. But it's kind of like when the people like put the dog in like a certain like space or whatever in the house. But yeah, and she's a very lovely dog, but she's a lovely dog. She's a lovely pig. The problem I see, those pigs live to be 20. You hate Dillon? Wait till this fucking pig gets to be 20. No, I'm just kidding. And I think she's stopped growing. But like, yeah, she's really sweet though. The funny thing is they have like the rooting behavior where they take their nose and they push it into things. So like I was just like sitting like in my like socked feet like at their house, and she was just like rooting on my feet like, what is this? What is this? What is this? It was really cute. I don't know. I just grew love for pigs over the past couple of years like I never have before. I just had a dream that I was playing with a little pig. And then, I don't know, I follow it's called Oink Oink Mini Pigs, and it's on Instagram. It's one of my favorite fucking accounts. And they're just, they're little and shit, and they're all like making fart noises with their noses, and they're in the bathtub, and they're all like just, they sleep with their noses together and shit. And I love that shit. You know, I love the fucking, God. I love all like the cuddly fucking dog, pig. Like, I love all that shit. Me too. Here's the thing. I don't really like cats. Really?
don't really. I would not personally. One, I'm allergic to them. Two,
Yeah.
I don't like that coldness. I don't like that.
The standoffish, I love you, then I don't.
I don't. I mean, I kind of don't want a plant that I have to feed cat food to.
Yes, that's pretty. Well, and the litter box thing is gross. So, like, you know, my dad's girlfriend has cats, and like, I've spent, you know, I've house sat and cat sat for them before, and it's just like, it's fucking gross. I can't get into it. And so I always wanted a cat, but my mom is also allergic. So, like, example, I wanted to have, like, I loved Aristocats when, like, the Disney movie. I wanted my fucking life to be Aristocats. Now, like, again, because my mom's allergic, like, I probably won't be able to get a cat, like, ever. Maybe if, like, my, like, partner has a cat, we can get away with it, and then my mom will just never come over. Not that I'm, like, hoping for that. But, I really do, like, love animals, and I really do want a dog eventually, but, like, right now, I just, like, again, I want to, like, get up and, like, go to Europe and, like, be able to do stupid shit on a whim and not have to worry about an animal. You know, if I get with somebody, I think too, like, if you, like, are with somebody and you get a dog with them, it's kind of like a trial run of, like, obviously you should be in a committed relationship and be thinking about, like, being engaged or whatever. But, like, if you're, like, engaged or married and you guys get a dog, I think that's a good trial run for children. So
yeah. I mean,
you're giving me this fucking face.
Well, no, it's true. It just kind of sucks because you couldn't go on vacation. Like, it just, like, have your partner just chilling at home watching the dog, and then you're, like, in fucking Europe for 3 weeks.
Well, I didn't say I was gonna do that.
Right, but it's just, like...
I mean, I would love to, though. Like, honey, I'm gonna go to Europe, stay with the dog.
But a cat, you could be like, hey, man, I'm not gonna be here for a couple weeks. And the cat's like, all right, fine,
yeah,
whatever.
it's like, whatever, asshole. Like, exactly.
Yeah, you didn't even have to tell the cat you left. You come back, like, oh, I thought you were at work.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, hey, shitter's full. Like, that's it. Like
I have a neighbor's cat that I would only see the cat every couple of months. The cat would just fucking run away.
Oh my god.
And then come back pregnant.
Oh my god.
Have the kittens, go away and get some more fucking feline pecker. just get dicked all around town when the cats are in heat, they make the weirdest, like, horny noises.
It's, like, horrible. Well, yeah, so, like, Cody had a cat that ran away. By ran away, we took it. He'd had it for about a year. I encouraged him to go to the vet and take it to the vet. He had a carrier for it. The carrier, when we were in the parking lot of his apartment complex, burst open, and the cat ran into the woods. And we like laid all these cat traps and stuff. We basically caught a bunch of raccoons and possums, which was fun. But Cody saw him when he was walking, like, through the woods, like, a few days later, and, like, sat down, and, like, the cat, like, wouldn't even go near him, and the cat just walked away. Like, and he was a feral cat to begin with, so, like, I guess he just, like, lived his fucking life, or his cat life, or whatever. But it was, like, so miserable that this cat, like, because he wanted a cat so bad, and then it just, like, left his life. And so I'm like, nervous about, because, like, a dog, if you call it, will come to you.
Yeah.
A cat fucking, the moment a cat gets outside, it's like, fuck, and it just, like, goes away forever. Like, it's a goner. Yeah,
it's like holding, like, a person captive in a way. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh wait, are they trained? Are they, like, okay, they know to, like, know to shit in the box.
Well, even 2 days ago, I was at the Jewel, and this lady, apparently she was, like, dog sitting and had this dog in her car. The dog fucking jumped out in the middle of a parking lot. And so I jumped out of my car and was, like, trying to, like, just got back to my car with some groceries. And then I'm, like, trying to get this dog, and it's, like, really scared. And at least the dog, like, they were able to, like somebody, like, thought fast and got some, like, I think it was, like, dog treats, and was, like, throwing them and keeping the dog in one place for the lady to, like, run up and grab the dog. But it was just like, oh my god. If that was a cat, the cat would be fucking dead by now.
Oh, yeah. Or
just run away forever.
Or in fucking, like, New Brunswick or some shit. Like, just, like, living its cat life. And
in Jersey?
Yeah, I don't know. The cats they're too independent, man. Like, I just need that. It's a roommate. It's like a roommate that shits in a box, and no matter what room you put the litter box in, it's the worst smelling. I just can't take the smell of kitty litter. Ugh. I can't take the smell of cat shit, I just don't like it.
It's literally having like shit just in your house at all times. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, not to shit on anybody that owns cats. They're just not for me. I prefer dogs, and
at least a dog, when it shits outside, it like hardens and doesn't smell. Like,
yeah.
And then like when you have to pick it up eventually.
Like, can you imagine if Bernie Sanders, like, if he just like shat in a box in like the room and then like just buried it, and then like he just didn't want to talk to anybody, or and if like he did, he would just come up to you and use your legs and then like fucking.
Why you gotta bring this back to my boy Bernie? I'm just kidding.
Just saying, like, he's better as a dog. If he behaved as a dog, it would be more acceptable than if he behaved as a cat.
Yeah, if he's just like shat in a box, like, no, not cool.
Yeah, I even remember there was like during like one of the first Trump protests, like like one of the signs in the crowd, like after all this shit, like, okay, like he's a Nazi, fascism, like all that shit, and then there was just one sign that just says he doesn't even have a dog. That was like the worst one.
That's true though. Like your character is like really, talk about character assassination if you don't have a dog. Like, yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like my folks haven't purchased an animal, or we have not owned an animal in 14 years, and wow. I will say it's because, well, like they're getting old, they don't want to take care of the dog anymore, and two, like it really fucked my dad up. Like Round's a land scamper. Like even like when we talk about him to this day, they just love those dogs so much, because he would wake up at like the wee hours of the AM to go to work, and he would just have the time just chilling with the dog. So I was like his buddy.
Yeah.
So it was just like when they go, it's just a emotional toll, and you just know like eventually like the dog is gonna be. Like that's it. Like the dog is like, yeah, I had this dog since I was a kid, and like you're like an old woman now. Like it's tortoise. Like they could probably outlive you, but they're not really. I don't know. They're just kind of.
They're just there and they eat lettuce.
Yeah, they eat lettuce, and then they just,
parrots too. Parrots live to be like almost like 30.
Yeah, so that's just I don't know, but I still love animals, man, and I think it's because. They just work so well with my personality. Like, I just like to be, like, just to, like, show that, like, affection. And then, like, I can't do that with people. I just can't go up to a person and just, like, pet a person like that and not be a dickhead.
Yeah.
But a dog, any random dog, you just do that to. You just, like, you could talk weird. But if I did that with a person, man, like, that's, I'd be a red dot on some website. I'd be like going on my neighborhood to my neighbors. I was like, "Hey, I just want to say I'm on a fucking website. I just pet people. You better watch out.
Better watch out. I pet people.
Yeah,
no, it's not a sex thing. It's just I like touching scalps.
Yeah, especially like kind of like the females. They smell good. Just touch their face. And just kind of tickle underneath their chins.
No one likes that. Don't ever
scratch them behind their ears, and then they turn around and I just pet their ass for about 5 minutes, and then they go to sleep.
Now it sounds like a sex thing.
It's probably a kink on there. Someone search the internet right now. See if they could find a porn of that shit.
This is why we need a producer. Like, producer, search. Does that have a porn of it somewhere?
Yeah, actually, it's right here on Pornhub. They got about 45 videos, and it's like the most popular kink on the website right now.
Holy shit! Oh my god! That was my Joe Rogan impersonation for a second, but that's not very good Joe Rogan impersonation at all.
Holy shit, he's hurt! It is all over! Wow, what a performance! This is the Machida era! Holy fuck!
The Pacino era?
Leoto the Dragon Machida.
No, who's that?
He's a UFC fighter. He was the shit like 8 years ago, like when I stopped watching. And that was like the last thing I remembered from the pay-per-view. Like, this is the Machida era. Oh my God, he is hurt. He's Joe losing his mind.
I can't do UFC. I can't do boxing either. It's too animal. Oh, this is funny considering we're talking about pets, but it's too animalistic. But here's the thing, like animals don't even do that. Animals don't get in a ring with each other for fucking sport and like beat the crap out of each other. Like I can't do that. It's a level of I just can't go to.
Yeah, and it's funny because when UFC first came out, it was criticized for being human cockfighting.
Really?
Yeah. Well, then again, you could just punch a guy like the sumo wrestler can go against a boxer and just punch him in the balls until the guy passed out.
Yeah, true.
No rules. God damn, man.
Animals just in some are too pure for this world, and that when one can have a dog or a cat, or, you know, I'm sure there's cats out there that people connect to, but really having an animal is like this beautiful sense of like, I don't know, just love and joy and amazingness. And I didn't really think I was going to cry, but I kind of knew I was going to cry, and then I fucking cried.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. But if there's some of you out there who actually know Dillon and need some scholarship money, I will give you $500 if you
you just put a hit out on a dog.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. The dog's probably so fat, if you shot it in the head, it would just go, ah, what the fuck? Like, the dog's like just impenetrable from its fucking all the chicken and mashed potatoes and corn and probably beer. The dog probably drinks beer. Just like watches CNN. Used to watch CNN with my uncle. Just a drunk fucking shitty broken leg dog. Negative dog. Such negative fucking complainy dog. But thankfully, there's only one Dillon and a million of all the other pets that we use and give our love to, and they are a reflection of us. So if you take good care of your pets, that says something about you as a person. Not to say that, like, you know, yeah, of course, probably Hitler was probably a badass. You know, he probably like loved it. He probably snuggled his huskies and shit at night. But I'm just saying, like, there's just something. It comes when it comes to somebody that takes care of their animals, it really rubs off on their character, and it's always a nice thing to see.
Yeah, definitely. So if you liked this episode, feel free to leave us a review on iTunes. It really helps us out. Make sure you're subscribed. We are on iTunes, Stitcher, and CastBox. You can also follow us on Facebook at Coffee and Catastrophe. We're on Twitter at CCWBG. And until next time, take care and be good to each other.
Bye now.